Hey, a very important question. Who's your favorite plant YouTuber?
Dear plant lovers, it's the holiday seasons at the end of 2025 and you're watching episode 2 of Plant Convergence Manila. This episode is very different from usual. Instead of looking at gorgeous plants, which you will see plenty of in episode 1 and 3, I sit down with Philippines YouTuber Bechoy and Irene from Leafing Around for a very long, heartfelt conversation. We take intimate and sometimes difficult questions from the audience. Happy holidays, and I hope you enjoy this chat.
When I was preparing or when I was shooting some food vlogs, it was very tiresome. Like for a 5-minute video, I had to shoot it for like almost 2 hours, plus the editing and all that stuff. So it was really very tiresome. And then for food vlogging, there's no take two. Once you start, it has to go all the way up to the end. And then I just realized that, again, this was during the pandemic. And then there was one day, when I just went outside our house. So I live in a rural area in the province of Mindanao. So we have a lot of spaces outside our house. There are a lot of trees outside, and some plants grow in the wild outside our house. So there are some green alocasias and Guyana, temptation, philodendron, and autos. All the autos, they just grow outside our house. Now the snake plants, yes, and CG plants, they just grow outside our house. So one day I just decided to pick one, put them in a pot, and started planting. So that was my start. So it was really more on like, I just was just thinking like, okay, I'll do this one, and I'll be doing the planting instead of the cooking. So that was my start with my plant vlogging.
And as for my own journey, it was one fine day, a friend came over for lunch. This was during COVID time. This is during June 2020. And he is a YouTuber. And then he started telling me, hey Irene, you know how to work a camera. And you know you can talk and you have lots of time, which is already your content at home. Why don't you become a YouTuber? Because that idea never occurred to my head. So I just kind of go, okay, I'll give it a go. And I started shooting whatever I was doing at home. This was during COVID. I had a lot of projects anyway. I just kind of shoot whatever home projects that I was doing. And then just kind of took off from there. And my channel name, Leafing Around, came about because I thought it was like a fun and playful way to kind of, I have this idea of like a garden fairy or a garden angel that's prancing around in her garden all day, tending to her plants, to her leaves, nurturing nature, and then being very fulfilled. So that's what I want to project on my channel.
All right. So I was collecting a lot of plants, actually even before COVID. So my collection exploded, and during the lockdowns, I had to kind of pause my fashion photos. Because I'm a fashion photographer, by the way. And then I was just home a lot, and I have my camera, which is actually, I use my phone to film everything. And then I just was consuming a lot of YouTube videos. I actually watched a lot of YouTubers online, but they were mostly from the US. And they didn't have the character that I needed. I was figuring a lot of things out by myself. So I thought I would share my journey in a YouTube channel. So I really didn't think much of it. I just thought, hey, I have time, I have a ton of plants, a lot of love for them, and I need to share what I've learned. And if you watch my channel, even from the beginning, it's not always success stories. I share my failures too. And I think that's what a lot of people identify with me, is that you learn from your mistakes as well as your successes. So I really was not expecting to do all that, travel the world, having to visit people's gardens, and even being here in the Philippines and facing you guys. This is something that I would never think about 4 years ago when I started the channel. But I'm grateful to be here.
What were the biggest challenges you faced when growing your channel?
Well, that's kind of difficult. Next question, please. No, just joking around. I think it's very difficult to answer. Because come to think of it, when
Because your channel's still growing.
yeah, maybe. No.
For me, my challenge is one that I am facing now. So not a lot of people know this, but I actually have got a full-time corporate job that's very demanding during the day. And so I find it tough to carve out enough time to do more on the YouTube. Like the time that's spent on editing, because I edit all the videos myself, I cannot let go of that creative control. And during the pandemic, when we were all cooped up at home, I was able to spend every night, every weekend, all my free time channel it into my YouTube. Now that the world has opened up, I spend time going out, traveling, go to the gym. I have more of a social life now. So I find it quite hard to keep up the pace of videos that I was doing before. And a lot of you have noticed I've started posting less videos. The fact is I have a lot of content lined up. I have 20 or 30 things to film. I just haven't edited them. That's my challenge.
For me, I don't really see myself facing that challenge. Actually, I don't really see my analytics to see how my channel is performing. The only time I do that is when Irene asks me. That's when I share it there, because I don't care about where my channel's going. I don't look at my subscriber count. I just do what I do, and I'm kind of just a nerd, editing my own videos and traveling.
Hi, good morning. I'm Mindy Cruz, and I am the president of the House of Hope Foundation for Children with Cancer. Vicky is my fellow board member, and I would like to say thank you to you all for having us included here too. Vicky is a very staunch supporter and have been doing a lot for the foundation through your plans. And I would say thank you to all those who have helped us raise money through the plans that have been donated to the House of Hope Foundation. The foundation is based in Davao. We help in the treatment of children with cancer. It's amazing, and I think this is a groundbreaking thing that even people overseas cannot really comprehend how we really made money from plants to be able to help fund treatment of children with cancer. So thank you so much. Now my question is, I am not a professional plant, collector, but I love plants, and coming today was really an awesome experience. Now, you gave us very good guidelines on how to be a collector, and also for those who are beginners and for the consumers. I think it takes a lot of honesty to be able to give all those tips to all of us. Now, I would like to ask, how will you compare your numbers of subscribers during the pandemic? This will be the time now that times have gone normal. Do you still have the same numbers, or has it drastically dropped? Because either everything has gone normal, or many people have gone into blogs that you have been doing over time. Thank you.
So the question is about the number of subscribers back then during COVID at the fever and versus now. So it depends on what platform. I think for YouTube, the number of subscribers don't generally unsubscribe from the channel. However, there is a lot of viewers that do not subscribe. So I can share with you about a good 75% of my viewers are not subscribing to the channel. So I'm guessing they're watching it on a more casual basis. What is a better measure for YouTube? It's not, in my view, subscribers, but the number of views. How many people are watching it and how often that they're watching it. And it depends, I feel, on the nature of the video. Because my videos tend to be more of okay, this is what a good garden design is like, what a good landscaping looks like. I think they could be a bit more evergreen versus a video that talks about a particular trending plant at that moment. So in my observation, videos that talk about maybe specific plants maybe have a shorter shelf life that is not a classic plant versus the type of gardening that's kind of more evergreen because people can relate to it at any time of the year, be it now or in the future.
If you ask me, I have not seen a drop in the in the few pounds. I've not seen a tremendous increase either of the movements. It's pretty much been stable. It depends on what I put out, and it's very random. But people are still interested in plants, and there are still new plant growers out there that are just starting out the hobby. Usually, the number of subscribers would not go down that much, except if you've done something which will make the subscribers like cancel you. As long as you haven't done anything disastrous or whatever, showbiz or whatever reason, your subscriber would always be either stagnant, would just be maintained, or slowly grow, as what Sean has experienced. In my case, I think I reached 100,000 subscribers in YouTube in year 2021, and for almost 4 years, I've only grown to 123,000. So that's 23,000 over the past 3 years. So it's still growing. And then, unfortunately, for my YouTube channel, I'm not uploading that much as I was uploading before. But most of the Filipinos are and Facebook, if you would notice here in the Philippines. But in Facebook, it's performing very good. So I think up to this point, my followers are, I think, 99% Filipinos, because I speak mostly Filipino in my contents and not so much in English, but I still do some English contents before. So I think people are still very interested with the contents, especially if I do some featuring about plants, how about propagations, and how to like maintain the beauty of the plants, etc. like that. So I think it's still doing good, and I think we share the same sentiments here, the three of us.
Full disclosure, I only started planting recently. And one thing I struggled with is bringing this perfectionism into gardening, like overthinking whether I'm using the right potting mix, or am I giving this the right amount of water and the right amount of sun. So 2 questions: one, does it get better, or is it always going to be like this? And 2, how do you deal with like overthinking whether or not you're doing like the aspects of plant care right all the time?
So my advice is don't overthink it. I've killed thousands of plants in the beginning, and I create my own potting mix and experimenting them, and actually they are great. But even today now, I've learned new potting mix that is like better. I started fermenting with eco enzyme. I'm starting to now put in mycorrhizas and a bunch of things in there that are scientifically. I'm still trying it out. Like scientifically, if you read it, that's what's beneficial for the plants. That creates symbiosis. So maybe I'll create a video about that soon, but I'm still experimenting that. So go at your own pace, and if whatever you do, the plants are probably okay now. There's always ways to make them happier, but you cannot just think that. You just have to let them chill and just know that as long as the plants are growing and growing and growing, and you have new nodes, you can propagate them. So as long as they're alive, even if you lose leaves, the leaves drop, you have a bare node, that's still a new plant, a potential new plant. So see things as opportunities, and go on with your life. If you're busy, you don't have too much time with your plants, don't worry about it. They're just doing their own thing. And if you kill them, learn from the mistake and try again. But just relax, don't overthink it. Yeah. And if you just want to do what you do for, you don't want to upgrade your skills, just happy with what you have for the next 20 years, that's also okay. Yeah.
I think you have to just think of them as tuition fees whenever you spend money on the plant and then it dies. That's what I tell myself to console myself. So, but at least you've learned something from it. And plants in nature, it's nobody taking care of it. I mean, God takes care of it. They're left out there in the wild. So I think maybe sometimes they're being overbabied in our environment. So they're more resilient than we think. But I also encourage you, especially if you're early in your plant journey, don't go with this very expensive plants at first. Practice out with the basic, easy ones, and then gradually, grow up and invest more later.
And it's very good advice. So first thing, just have to take note that don't overthink, because overthinking will probably kill your plant sooner or later. So just don't overthink about it. Just let it be. The advice that Irene gave was that if you're still starting, you start with kind of cheap ones. So that if ever they die in your hand, so it won't be that painful. So just eventually until you get to learn. And also with regards to the potting mixture, it's actually what's applicable to me might or might not be applicable to you. So it's always about like experimenting your own potting mix. We have different growing conditions. In my place, it might be in high humid area, high altitude, or it's dry. So we don't have the same growing conditions. So we have different parameters to consider in that one. So just try to experiment on what may be applicable on your growing conditions.
And I'm going to tip the plant that you're trying to grow, find out like in nature, where does it occur naturally? Does it like to climb a tree? Does it like to be, stuck on a cliff, on a rocky place? Or is it a crawling plant? Then you try to imitate that sort of environment when you grow it at home.
Hi, thank you for coming to the Philippines. A question for the three of you. By the way, my wife loses sleep watching your videos. A question for the three of you. How would you describe the Philippines in the context of the hobby, the plants, the collectors, the plants that you've been getting here, the good and the bad? How does the Philippines differ from other countries? A question even for my kabayan. I'm by the way, Luis from Misamis Occidentales.
My first impression from the collector side is that you guys have a lot of gardens here, a lot of passionate gardeners, and a strong gardening culture and heritage that's passed down from generations to generations. I still see families with their kids out here shopping for plants, an intergenerational hobby that I actually don't really see in many parts of the world. So this is something that's unique. Also in my comments, hey, I watch it with my mom, I watch it with my sister or my aunt. That's one thing that I've noticed. So you guys have a wonderful garden culture here. One thing I noticed that you guys have a ton of sellers. You guys have the most live sellers in the world. Although, to be honest, I'm not sure how that transcends into sales data. I don't know how many people are actually buying the plants because I don't know that side of the trade. But I just know that you guys have a lot of sellers. That can be a good thing, that can be a bad thing. So I'm just eagerly waiting to see what's happening. I'm also keeping an eye on. But you guys have a voracious appetite for rare plants. Some of the rarest plants now are going into the Philippines. You guys are the biggest gamblers. The two or three of the Devil Monsteras that were sold in the last juice auction came to the Philippines. That's pretty mind-blowing. So you guys are some of the biggest crazy ass consumers of rare plants, and that is also keeping the international market going. In other countries should also learn to be crazy ass. Of course, within reason, invest. Because you have to be smart about investing. Keep in mind, plant prices go up and down. So it's all about timing. It's all about making money for everyone and hoping that nobody has a loss in this. But it's an interesting market, the Philippines. I think you guys are actually growing steadily. I also understand in the COVID era, you guys didn't go up as much as the other countries. The other countries saw a rise, maybe because at the time, my guess is it was not easy for you guys to import plants in during the COVID era. And you guys are getting more and more import restrictions, getting eased now, so you guys are not experiencing more and more imports, and you guys are propagating and also exporting. I understand the Devil Monsteras that came here, a few of them actually went back overseas, so they must have made even more profit from it. So that's just something that's happening in the Philippines.
I think 4 of the Devil Monsteras that went to the Philippines already came back to Thailand what was that? I think August or September last year. So yeah, being Filipino myself, I actually can say that I think the Philippines is might be the biggest market for the ornamental plants right now. Not just for the philodendrons or the monsteras. I think all the other varieties. It just shoot up during. Just what Sean has mentioned when the importation was more like relaxed a bit, and there was a time, I think it was in 2022 or maybe late 2021, when a lot of plant sellers already went to Thailand and did the live selling, blah, blah, blah. So we have all the plants here already. So
Hi, good afternoon. So my question is just out of curiosity. I know what you're doing right now is good. You're sharing your passion, your knowledge, your tips. But what else can you bring to the table aside from being a plant blogger or an influencer? How will you use your influence to reach out of the plant industry or the community, or how will you help out? Yeah, just out of curiosity. So what do you bring to the table aside from just doing your vlogs?
Yeah, I'm very passionate about conservation and about poaching, and in some of my episodes, you will see me discuss it. There's a episode on poaching. I'm not all about black and white when it's poaching. There are times when poaching is actually okay. So it's not about it's a whole there's a lot of ethics that goes with it. I also toured the Noah's of Ark of plants in Taiwan. Check out that episode. It's wonderful what they're doing in southern Thailand. They're keeping one of every species, and they are freezing their genetics in case we lose it. Aliens can unfreeze it and grow it back into plants in the future. So I have done that kind of. I love botanical gardens. I love people who are doing things with plants, growing them for food. But my focus of the channel still remains ornamentals, because that is where the views counts are. Also a little bit about my own passion. But we cannot talk about ornamental plants without talking about the consequences of the nature, or what about the plants that are not discovered yet out there? How do we protect our environment and things like that? So maybe that a little bit answers the question.
Well, actually, that was another very difficult question. More like for beauty pageant questions.
Thank you very much for this very important question. I think I have no answer for that right now because I haven't really given it much thought. But you've triggered a very interesting thing that I should be asking myself. Because now that we've discovered we have some level of influence, we have some viewers, we should do more with it. So it's something I'm going to go back and think about properly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Belle, plant life seller from Mindanao. So here's my question. What are the advantages and disadvantages of being a plant vlogger? Thank you.
I don't know. I think we all have different answers for that. But honestly, for me, the last 2 years, I've been invited to plant shows all around the world. Like, I get to travel for free to the US, to China, here to Manila. Can you believe that? Like, all expenses paid, and sometimes my mom comes along with me, so it's great that I can bring her with me to experience these events. And some of the other privilege, I don't know. I mean, I don't think about. I feel shy when people come up to me and give me things, or they offer me, because some vendors actually, hey Sean, take this. I'm not a taker kind of person, but I don't try to think much of it, but it's just wonderful opportunity that a lot of gardeners, a lot of legendary girls have opened their doors for me, and my expenses covered to travel to these places because I don't make a ton of money.
I can only say the good things because it has opened up a world for me to connect with people, to connect with you guys, and open doors to meet people that I think normally we wouldn't get to access. But because they know us that we're YouTubers and we have some level of influence, so we can go into their home garden and generally access the things that are being difficult. I can't say that there is downside because it's really fantastic. But the only thing is to be a content creator and to be a YouTuber, there is work behind. There is serious artwork behind it. Maybe it's not obvious to you, but there's a lot of time spent on the filming, thinking of the content, the narrative, how to make it interesting and yet educational, and having to sit for hours and hours behind a computer to edit it in a way that's captivating and keep the viewers watching.
Yeah, the good thing also with vlogging is that you get to connect with so many people like Tita from Bacolod, from Peter Vicky, Menes, even the organizers of the Plant Convergence. People who I wouldn't thought that I'd be meeting at this kind of events. Even I myself, I wasn't thinking sitting here with two of the most influential YouTube plant vloggers, and it's just like Um, it's very amazing experience. So I think that's one advantage.
Okay, thank you. I would like to pitch one. This came in online. If you could be any plant, I think it's another beauty pageant question. If you could be any plant, which one would you be and why? The reactions, yeah, it's a beauty pageant question.
Okay, you guys need some time.
Okay.
Okay.
I think Irene has an answer.
Well, yes, because as you know, I love my Nicola cordata. It is a beautiful palm that originates from Sarawak, and I'm also from Sarawak. It's in the island of Borneo. The palm the leaf is completely round. Yes, I like to aspire to be this sexy, beautiful production. It's also easy and low maintenance. So that's great.
It's really very difficult to question.
I can think of the plant, but I can't remember the name now. But have you heard of this forest that's actually just one tree? I believe there's one in India and there's one maybe in the United States, where the tree just keeps spreading and spreading, but the whole thing is one large organism covering a large space. I would have loved to be that because one, I want to live like forever. I want to spread out to a large area and kind of benefit that area. It would be such a nice organism. Be to just clone yourself and like live forever and have people see you from outer space. It's pretty cool. Well,
You dream big.
Oh wow. I don't have an answer at this point. Maybe I'll just answer in Makahiya. what's the Mimosa, yeah, the sunshine. Yeah, maybe that. Not the variegated one, just the green one.
Now let's twist things a little bit, and I think we would need any of you to answer. It's like if you were to ask the audience a question, what would that be? And then anybody of you can answer from the question each, the three of them.
Hey, it's a very important question. Who's your favorite plant YouTuber?
I think it's you, Irene. Okay. Simply because you inspired me to have my own garden in the future. I'm actually starting to collect my plants. I wish I could also travel, okay, visit those rich people, the collector. Remember that? Yeah. And I also love Bechoy, the handsome one among those vloggers. Yeah, you also teach me how to use the medium from different kind of plants. So I learned that from you. I was able to write down those things that you explained during your vlog. Sean, also, I really love your travel, particularly in Japan, because I really love to go to Japan, going back again to Japan. And the three of you actually give me an idea to travel again, okay, and do some more garden and explore more of it, or more of those plants. Okay, thank you very much, Irene. Okay, Bechoy and Sean. Thank you.
So you three are our favorites. But Bechoy is mostly just selling. I watch about 10 minutes. And Sean has crazy long videos, like 1 hour, 2 hours. I watch about 25 minutes. My favorite is Irene because sometimes it's cinematic, the narration, but I also have a favorite episode. A favorite guest of yours, and it's Chandra.
Hello. Sorry, gentlemen, but my favorite is Irene.
No worries.
The reason why she's my favorite is because during the pandemic, it was a very difficult time for me. My mental health was crazy. So I wanted to support because, and I'm glad that I was able to tell her again now that I'm very thankful for her videos that she posted in YouTube because of those videos. I got through the pandemic. I have a better mental health now. I sought professional help. And I think without those videos, maybe I'm not sure how's the impact don't, so, but that's why you're my coach.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. See, plants not only bridges countries, but also touches and heals.
These two people here, so I'll be at the audience because I actually idolize both of you as well. I also look up to you, both of you, and I also wish that one day I'd get to be like you, like all the things that you do, the plant vlogging, and get to travel also outside of the Philippines. It's not that I can't travel, but I haven't done something like what you have done also. So it's like my inspiration as well. So it's fine. I have to agree with all of you guys.
Yay!
They're both our idols.
Okay, sige, I will indulge you. They've been wanting to ask, but they're very shy. You've been encouraging me? Okay, go.
I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Reina, and I'm from Rizal, and I'm a beginner plant collector. I'm 23. I just turned 24 in January, and the reason why I'm here is because of Sean from Only Plants. I'm a big fan. Yes. And I've been subscribed since the pandemic also because my mental health was also at an all-time low, and I built a habit of taking care of my parents' plants, and then I've gone to collecting my own plants because of watching channels like Sean's from Only Plants, and I love watching your videos. I watch all of the videos, like the 3-hour videos in its entirety. I love those, especially when I'm doing plant chores. And my cat is a big fan of you also because she loves to listen to your voice. Yeah, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for the videos that you make because I enjoyed seeing the community also interact in your YouTube channel. And it gets a little lonely because not a lot of people my age, or at least around my friend group, it's kind of hard to find people who have the same habit of hobby, or taking care of plants. So yeah, just thank you. I'm such a big fan.
Like everybody else. Oh, big hugs.
I have a question. You introduced me to begonias. I've been a collector of cacti and succulents since I was in college. And during pandemic, I shifted to the foliage. Yeah, but you introduced me to begonias. But right now, I only have 2 begonias left. So I'm curious about what's the condition of your begonias? What's your weather like in your place? Where do you place them? Because I try it. What kind of sun exposure? I try to water it. I try not to water it, but they all. I'm just down to 2 common begonia.
So, I think begonia is one of the most finicky plants, but they're very rewarding because they're so beautiful and so delicate. And there's a range of begonias. Some tend to be hardy. So the begonia maculata type tend to be more hardy. These cane begonias. The one that's like the rhizomes, they tend to be maybe a bit more tricky. My environment, I'm very lucky that my home is in a very humid area. It naturally has high humidity. Of course, I have bought some very special begonias where they need to be in an extreme humidity, like Terraria type, but they never last. For me, they kind of eventually die. For me, in the beginning, I like the begonias to be kept out of the rain because if too much rain, then you worry about the leaves getting spoiled or just too much water. So a part of my begonia collection is under controlled watering. So I water it every 2 days or so, and they're not subject to the exposure of the rain. Having said that though, I now want to train them to be more and more independent. I don't want to baby my plants that much anymore. I have no energy to do that. I'm migrating more and more into outdoor and experimenting and training them to live outdoor. And they're not exposed to 100% light because in nature, always think about where the begonias are growing in nature. They're usually in a forest floor. They usually have trees above. So yes, some light, but kind of filtered light. And they like to have friends around, so group them with a lot of other plants. So try to recreate that environment for them in
Okay, thank you very much. I think if
Can I add one
Oh,
thing
sure.
about begonias? If you struggle with begonias, that's probably because begonias don't adapt well to change. So if you bring back home a begonia, immediately cut it and propagate it. That's my thing. Let it grow in your environment. The new baby plants that grow in your environment will have adapted, and those are usually stronger, in my experience. Yeah. So when I'm shopping for begonias, I'm looking not at the one that's prettiest, but the one that's most viable for propagation.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna just yeah.
that's a new learning also for those who like to go into begonias.
I want to thank you so much to Philippines and you guys sitting out here for the past hour now with us. I feel very, very humble and thank you for sharing with me your stories to let us know the impact that we've had. I think a lot of times we're just behind our screens. We don't know what's goes on out there. And I would say I'm now more motivated to edit our videos.
So watch out for more videos of Irene. Okay, next, sir, Bechoy.
So it's really an honor to be sitting here beside these two very inspirational and very influential YouTube plant vloggers. I'm myself part power. I'm more on the selling side. So again, as I mentioned earlier, I really look up to them. I'm a fan of them as well. And for all the Filipinos out there who also loves plants, let's all keep the fire burning, keep loving all our plants, and be kind to everyone.
All right, just to cap it off, I guess Irene and I mean, I don't know Bechoy that well, but thank you for accompanying us. It's really nice knowing you. We met in very unusual circumstances. Yeah. There, I stole his photo for a video, and we finally met up in Davao, and that got our conversation started. So lovely to meet you. And Irene and I, throughout the day, we've just been discussing about how this trip is changing our lives, and the way that we think about our work. It's never gonna be the same again. And I'm saying this, like, try not to break down and cry, but I'm really moved that our work has changed some of you guys. And if you invited us into your homes, to your screens, and you're watching this with your families, and we're helping you bond and deal with difficult situations, we're gathering your gardens. These things are they keep us going, they keep us motivated and fuel. So we'll never think about our work the same way again walking out of this. And I am immensely just very, very grateful. And it's lovely to meet all of you. And hopefully I'll see you guys throughout the day. And happy shopping, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for watching this all the way to the very end. We are grateful to the event organizers and the audiences who came all the way to see us. In episode 1, I toured the international vendors to see some cool plants. In the next episode, we will tour the local vendors to see exactly what they're growing in the Philippines. And it is a pretty long episode. Now, for most of you, you're more than welcome to click out of this video now, but for the very few of you who might feel the urge to contribute financially to the channel, here are a few options. For as small as a cup of coffee a month, join my Patreon at patreon.com/SeanFromOnlyPlants, or you may join as a YouTube member. To join, simply open any of my videos from a computer browser, and next to my channel name, you will see that join button. Thank you guys again, Happy New Year, and I will see you in 2026.